Unit 2, Humans as Organisms. Firstly, in this unit, we will talk about the human. We will talk about the organs, the major organs and organ systems in a human. We will see what are the main body systems, and each system, we will talk about each system, about the parts of it, organs of it, and also names with their functions. As you can see here, major organ systems. As you can see here, we have some organs. Okay, each organ, it belongs to a specific system, and of course each organ, it has its own function. Firstly, our body, it consists of 4 main systems. These 4 main systems are nervous system, digestive system, respiratory system, and excretory system. Each system, it has its own function. Let's see what are these functions. Nervous system, the function of nervous system is to send and receive messages in our body, so it can coordinate or it can control the movements, and also it can control the other systems. For example, nervous system uses messages from the sensory organs and sends a message to the muscles to coordinate the activities of the body. Here, what do we have in nervous system? We have sensory organs. Okay, sensory organs. For example, let's say your skin. Your skin is your skin is an example of sensory organ. Your skin, it detect if there is any change. For example, let's say if there is any change in the temperature of the environment. Any change to the temperature of the environment, this, it will affect on your skin. So your skin will detect this change. So now your skin is like a sensory organ. Now your skin will detect the change, will detect the signal. So it will send it to the brain, and the brain will process this signal and then will give order to your muscles to take an action. Digestive system, the main function of digestive system is to break down food. Then respiratory system, main function is to take in oxygen from the air and releases carbon dioxide. Or you can say the function of respiratory system is to it's for gas exchange. Excretory system, the function of it is to remove wastes, to remove body wastes. Now, let's take the skeleton. Let's take the skeleton as an example of one of the systems in our body. Skeleton, it has 3 main functions in our body. These 3 functions are protection, support, and movement. We will see how it will work each one. Now, protection. What do you mean by protection? It means protecting the internal organs. For example, we have skull. Our skull, it protects the brain. Okay. Another example, you can say, for example, your backbone. Backbone, it protects the spinal column. Then you have ribs, it protects heart and lungs. So the first function for skeleton, it's what? It's to protect. Second one, it's support. Maybe you will ask, for example, us as a humans, how we can stand upright. We are able to stand upright because of our bones, because of our especially our backbone. So the bones provide a strong structure which holds the organs up. Okay, so this is how the skeleton it support our body. Movement. Once you'll hear the word movement, so it should comes to your mind that muscles. Okay. Now, what enable us to move? It's our muscles. It's our muscles when it's joined or attached to the bones. Movement, the place where two bones meet, is called joint. As you know, our body it consists of bones. These bones, we have bones. They are two. Whenever you will have two bones join each other, so they're touching each other, so they form a joint. In our body, we have different types of joints. It depends on the way of movement, how it moves. For example, the two main types of joints in our body, they are hinge joint, and we have another one, we call it ball and socket joint. Two types of joints. The first one, hinge joint, it enable the two bones to move just backward and forward. An example, you have elbow. Your elbow, you can just move it backward and forward. You cannot move it to all the directions. Okay, so this kind of joints, we call it hinge joint. Another example of joint, which is ball and socket joint. Example, hip and shoulder. Let's say your shoulder. Your shoulder, you can move it backward, forward. You can move it to right, to the left. You can move it to all directions. So this kind of joint, we call it ball and socket joint. Then, in each joint, you will have these three parts, or each joint, it consists of these three parts: ligaments, cartilage, synovial fluid. What's the function of each one? Two bones. When you have two bones, how these two bones will be attached to each other, or how these two bones will be held together? It will be held together by ligaments. So ligaments, it hold the bones together. Then, between these two bones, there is a cartilage. The function of cartilage, it's what? To protect the ends of bones from wear. As you know, if you have two bones, these two bones, they are always moving. Bones in joints, okay, they are always moving. So because of movement, there will be friction. So if these two bones are in a direct contact to each other, if they will keep moving, because of the friction, they will start to wear. If they will wear this, it will cause pain. But to prevent this, we have what? We have cartilage. Cartilage, it's like between the two bones. It prevents the two bones from wearing. Now, the third part, it's what? Synovial fluid. Synovial fluid, from the name fluid, so it's something liquid. So this liquid, the function of it, is to reduce friction as the bones move. Okay, so ligaments hold bones together. Cartilage and synovial fluid, both of them, their function is to reduce friction, and then it will prevent bones from wearing. Antagonistic muscles. Antagonistic muscles, we mean by antagonistic muscles when two muscles work at the same time but in a contract. They work in opposite to each other. For example, let's take this example. Your arm, you have the biceps and the triceps. These two muscles, how they work, they work together, but they work in opposite to each other. How is that? For example, when the biceps will get shorter, will contract, will get shorter, what will happen to the triceps? The triceps, it should relax, so it will get taller. It will be taller. But when the biceps it will relax, then what will happen? The triceps it should contract. So here what is happening? Two muscles, they work together at the same time but opposite to each other. So this kind of muscles, we call them antagonistic muscles. Check your understanding. This it will be your task. Diet and nutrition. Nutrients. What do you mean by a nutrients? A nutrient is a chemical which is needed by the body to keep it in good health. Nutrient, we have different types of nutrients. So when you eat food, any kind of food, this food it consists of many nutrients. All the nutrients are divided or are grouped into these types or groups. Firstly, protein, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 main types of nutrients, and then also we will have another nutrients in addition to these 5 main nutrients. Each nutrient it has a function in our body, and also it's like it has a source. It's like from where we can get this nutrient. Firstly, protein. Proteins are needed for growth. Are needed for making new cells. Are needed for cell division. So, function, growth, and repair of body tissues. From where we can get proteins, we have many sources like meat, beans, lentils, milk, cheese. Okay, all of these are the sources that we can get protein from it. Number 2, fats. The function of fat in our body, it's a source of, focus here, it's a source of a stored energy. Okay, because then we will have also carbohydrates. Carbohydrates also will be source of energy. But the difference between these two energies, it's what? Fat, it's stored energy. While carbohydrates, the function of it provides energy which can be used quickly. Okay, fat and carbohydrates, both of them are source of energy for our body, but fat is a source of stored energy. Carbohydrates is a quick energy. From where we can get fats? Cheese, butter, peanuts. Okay, from where we can get carbohydrates? Bread, rice, pasta. Then vitamins. Vitamins, wide range of functions in keeping the body healthy. So vitamins are required or are needed for keeping the body healthy. Fruit, vegetables are the sources of vitamins. Minerals. Minerals, our body needs minerals with very small quantities. We can get them from also fruit and vegetables. Example function of it, for example, iron. Iron is needed for blood to carry oxygen. This is one of the examples. Then, in addition to these 5 nutrients, still our body needs more nutrients. These nutrients will be, firstly, water. Okay, water is very important. How? Or why it's very important for our body? When you will eat any kind of food, this food will be digested. Then when it will be digested, or while it's being digested, this is a chemical reaction. Then when you will try to get benefit from this nutrient, also you need to have a chemical reaction. So these chemical reactions, it needs what to happen or to take place? it needs water. So the body needs water as all the chemical reactions of life processes in the cell take place in water. So why water is important? Because it's required for the chemical reaction in the cell. Then the last thing, which is fiber. Our bodies also will need fiber. Why? Because when you will eat, when this food will be digested, or while it's passing through the alimentary canal, so what will happen? These fibers, it's need to make fibers gives bulk to the food, so the alimentary canal push it along more easily. Deficiency diseases. Deficiency diseases, what do you mean by deficiency diseases? Is when you will not get enough amount of these nutrients. What will happen to your body? When you will not get enough amount of these nutrients, you will have some diseases. Examples of diseases: night blindness, cannot see in dark. Okay, why you will have this kind of disease? It's because, for example, lack of vitamin A. So you will have less vitamin S in your body. How you can prevent this, or how you can get vitamin A, sorry, you can get it from milk or liver, carrot, okay? Then beriberi, this it's happened because of when you will have less vitamin B in your body. Okay, from where you can get vitamin B? You can get vitamin B from bread, milk, brown rice, soya bean. Then beriberi, if you will ask what's beriberi, beriberi it's a kind of disease. A disease causes inflammation of the nerves and heart failure caused by deficiency of vitamin B. Then scurvy. Scurvy, it's when you don't have enough amount of vitamin C in your body. From where you can get vitamin C? Black currant, orange, lemon, papaya. Okay. Then rickets, lack of vitamin D. You can get it from egg yolk. Anemia, it's because lack of iron, as we explained here. From where you can get iron? From meat, eggs, and lentils. A balanced diet. A balanced diet, what do you mean by it? It means getting enough amount of nutrients. Another explanation for it, you can say, when you will eat food, okay, your food or your meal, it should contain specific amount, or it should contain enough amount of all the nutrients. Now, a scientific definition for it. A balanced diet is one in which all the nutrients are present in the correct amount to keep the body healthy. This pyramid, it shows different kinds of foods. And as you can see here, when we talked about balanced diet, it means you should get the nutrients with specific amounts, because you will need, for example, your body needs carbohydrates more than fat, and it needs, for example, when you have minerals, it needs this kind of mineral more than the other one. So here, this pyramid, it shows that your meals, it should be based on this. You should eat this kind of foods, for example, more than having milk or fish or chicken. Why? Because, as I just said, your body needs carbohydrates more than fat. Okay, these kinds of foods, it will give us energy. These are sources of carbohydrates, but these are sources of what? These are sources of fat or protein. So that's why you should eat your meal, it should contain carbohydrates more than fat or proteins. Again, check your understanding. This it's your task. Digestion, the digestive system. So, tips for success: make sure you can describe the main structures and functions of digestive system. Firstly, you should know the main function of digestive system. The main function of digestive system is to break down food. Now, because we are saying system, so it means it consists of many parts or many organs working together. You should be familiar with the organs that makes the digestive system. Firstly, as you can see here, this figure, okay, it shows the digestive system with all its parts or with all its organs. You should be able to give a name. You should be able to give the name of each one of these organs and also the function of it. For example, the first one, A. Which part? It's this one. Here, the answer is mouth. What is the function of mouth? The function of mouth is what? It's to break the food mechanically. Okay, so here it's for chewing. When you will chew the food, here what you are doing, here you are breaking down the food. But here, how is the breaking down here? It's what? It's mechanically, because the digesting food or breaking down food, it will go through two ways. Okay, the first one, food is broken down physically, okay, and chemically and physically, or you can say mechanically. It's the same thing. Here, food is broken down physically by what? By the action of teeth. Then the second step of breaking down food, it's what? Breaking down food chemically. Breaking down food chemically, this process, it will happen by what? By the action of enzymes. Okay, so these enzymes, it will what? It will act as a catalyst that will speed up the process of breaking down food. Breaking down of large molecules in food into smaller one, which then can be absorbed by the body. Now, when you will eat food, your food may contain protein, fats, or carbohydrates. When you are saying protein is a large molecule. It means this protein or this large molecule, it consists of many small molecules together, okay, or it consists of another subunits. Okay, what are these? Now, when your digestive system will break down the proteins chemically in your body, so will break it down into amino acids. Okay, food group, small molecules produced. That's mean a group of amino acids together, they form what? Or they make what? They form the protein. Fats, when fats will be broken down into smaller molecules. What are the smaller molecules of fat? They are fatty acid and glycerol. Same thing with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, it's made up of simple sugars, or you can say glucose. Okay, the simple sugar of carbohydrate, it's what? Is the simplest sugar of carbohydrates, it's what? It's glucose. And also that the questions, it will be your task. I will solve some of the questions, and the rest you will do it by yourself. On figure 2.4 on page 12, label the organs A to J. Let's do it together. A, we said this organ. Which part is this one? What's the name of this organ? Mouth. Then B. What's this? Esophagus. C. What's this? It's a stomach. D. What's this? It's a liver. And so on. E. E. Here the label, it should be on this part. Okay, I don't know, maybe it's a mistake here. Okay, so it should be labeled to this one. So this part, it's what? This, we call it gallbladder. Then G, this part, it's pancreas. F, small intestine. Then this part, it's large intestine. Then this part, it's rectum. And the last one, it's anus. Now, next to each of your labels on figure 2.4, write where water is reabsorbed. The answer here, it's what? It's the large intestine. Okay, I will give explanation for it. Then from my explanation, try to find the answer. I will start from the beginning. A, mouth. Function of mouth, it's to break down the food physically by the help of teeth, by chewing. When you will chew, you will break down the food physically. Then B, trachea. Trachea, it will just conduct the food from mouth to the stomach. Then C, when the food it goes to the stomach, here what will happen? The first step of the breaking down of food chemically, it will start. What will happen here? The proteins will start breaking down. Okay, so there is enzyme, we called it pepsin. This enzyme will start breaking down the proteins, and these proteins will be broken down into what? The simple unit of proteins, it's what? Amino acid. Then after stomach, what will happen? When the food it will pass out from stomach, here as you can see, what do we have? We have liver, we have pancreas, and we have gallbladder. Here they will release some chemical substances on the food. So by this gallbladder, the function of it, it makes bile. Bile, the function of it, it's to break down fat or fats. And you will have here the pancreas. Pancreas, the function of it, it's what? It's to release, we call it pancreatic juice. It contains, for example, insulin. Insulin, it what? It helps to regulate the sugar content in the blood. Then when the food it will pass to the small intestine, here the main process of breaking down the food chemically, it will start. Okay, all the food nutrients or categories will be digested here in small intestine. Then the food will be digested, and at the same time will be absorbed. The nutrients of it will be absorbed by the walls of the small intestine. After that, the food it will pass through large intestine. The function of large intestine is to what? It's to reabsorb the water and some minerals. If there is still some water and minerals in the food, here it will be reabsorbed again. Then the food will be stored in the rectum and finally will be released outside the body through anus. So try to solve these questions by yourself depending on what I just explained. The circulatory system. The basic parts of the circulatory system. Firstly, function of circulatory system. The main function of circulatory system, it's what? It's to circulate blood around the body. Now, this process of circulating blood around the body, it will happen within some organs. So some organs will be needed to do this function. What are these organs? Firstly, circulatory system, it will consist of these parts or these organs. Firstly, number one, heart. Heart, it's needed to pump the blood around the body. Then, number two, the second one, or number two, it's what? It's the blood vessels. Blood vessels are required to carry blood around the body. Then, number three, the blood. And then within the blood, we will have blood contents. So, now the organs for the parts of circulatory system: heart, blood vessels, and blood. The function of each part. Firstly, heart. Heart, the function of it, it's what? Pump the blood around the body. Then, this blood, how it will go through around the body, will go through the blood vessels. Blood vessels, we have three types of blood vessels. We call them artery, vein, and blood capillaries. So, how many blood vessels do we have? Three. Vein, artery, and capillary. Now, what is the function of each one of them? And what are the differences among these three blood vessels? Number one, artery. Arteries, the function of it, it's to what? To carry blood away from the heart. It means it will take blood away from heart. When heart, it will pump the blood now it goes out of the heart through what? Through the artery. Because arteries will carry blood away from heart, so the walls of arteries, it should be thick. Why it should be thick? Because when the heart will pump blood, the blood now will be pumped with a high pressure. So the walls of arteries, it should be thick enough, thick and elastic enough to handle this pressure. Then, after that, we will have veins. Let's talk about veins now. Veins, it will what? It will take blood back to the heart. Okay? Veins, it will take blood back toward the heart. Here, the walls of the veins, it's what? It's thin. It's not like arteries. Okay? And one more thing, veins, it has valves in it. The function of valves, it's what? It's to prevent the blood flowing backwards. Now, if you want to give if you want to mention the differences between arteries and veins, you will say again, arteries, it carry blood away from heart. The vein, it will take the blood back to the heart. The walls of arteries are thick and elastic. The walls of veins are thin. Veins, they have valves. Here, the arteries doesn't. Then, another example of another type of blood vessels, we call it blood capillaries. Capillaries are what? In the body tissue, the arteries divides into tiny blood vessels called capillaries. These capillaries, they are tiny. The diameter of it, it's small. The walls of them are consist of only one layer of cells. So the function of it, it's to what? It's to exchange materials between the blood and the tissue cells. Okay. how when this blood it goes to your cells. Now how the cells will take the blood, how it will take the nutrient and oxygen from the vessels, it will take it through the walls of the capillaries, because the walls of blood capillaries are thin and consist of only one layer of cells, so the materials it can diffuse, it can pass through it easily. Then components of blood. Our blood, it consists of these components. Number one, RBC or red blood cells. Red blood cells, their shape is concave and it has no nucleus. The function of red blood cells, it's what? It contains hemoglobin and it carries oxygen from lungs to tissue. So the first component, red blood cells. Description about it, it's what? The shape of it, it's concave and it has no nucleus. The function of red blood cell, it has hemoglobin, which is a kind of protein that it will carry oxygen to the body tissues or to the lung tissues. Okay, from lung to the body tissues. Then the next component, WBC, white blood cells. White blood cells. In fact, white blood cells, we have types of it. It's not only one type of blood cell. Shape, it's irregular and it has a nucleus. The function of it, it's to what? It's to defend our body. So it kills bacteria which cause diseases. Now, if you have a question that it says compare between white blood cell and red blood cell, how you will compare between them? Firstly, shape. Red blood cells, it has concave shape, while white blood cell, it has irregular shape. Some of them it has a regular shape, but in general they call them irregular shape. Then red blood cells have no nucleus, while white blood cells it have nucleus. Okay, then if you will come to the function of red blood cell, it's to carry oxygen to the body tissues, while the main function of white blood cells, it's what? It's to defend our body. So it kills bacteria and some microorganisms. Then another component, we call it platelets. Platelets are what? Are fragments of cells. The function of it is to what? It help to blood clotting. It stop bleeding when, for example, help blood to clot at the site of a wound. If you will get injury in any part of your body, let's say any part of your skin, you will start bleeding. But after a couple of minutes, after a while, your body will stop, your skin will stop bleeding. Why? What happened? It's the platelets. The platelets here will collect, will gather, and it will block the wound, and then it will stop blood from bleeding. Last thing, last component, plasma. Plasma, it's what? Plasma, or a definition for it, you will say it's the watery content of the blood. Okay, it's like a water. Okay, the function of it, it's what? It carries digested food and waste products such as carbon dioxide and urea. Okay, these were the component of the blood and also with the function of each component. Here you need to be able to memorize all of these components with their functions. Then the action of the heart. The action of the heart is as we just explained. The heart, when it will beat, it will send blood out of it. This blood will comes through what? It will comes through artery. Okay, arteries. Then it will goes to the lung, then from to the lungs, then from lung to heart again to the blood tissues, then to body tissues, sorry, then back from body tissues to the heart through vein. Okay, so you just need to know the artery and vein and also the blood capillaries. Pulse. What do you mean by pulse? Pulse, it's when your heart muscles contract. When your heart muscles contract and relax, this is the pulse. So, as the heart pumps the blood, it makes the blood surge through the blood vessels, leaving the heart and cause their wall to stretch and shrink. So, the change in the blood vessels walls can be detected as a throbbing sensation called pulse. So that was everything for this lesson. Check your understanding. It will be your task for this lesson. I hope everything was clear in this lesson. Please watch the video, write a comment. If you still have questions, concerns, don't hesitate to text me. One more thing, when you will start watching this video, please don't depend completely on this revision guide. You need also to take some information also from your book. Thank you and have a good day.